All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my last major read through for Kaiju number 8. And with this session, I will completely catch up to the series. The only chapters we're going to be going through today well, you know what? It's probably best if you can see me when I say this. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome to my final major read through for Kaiju number 8, where I read through the latest 5 chapters of the story, and then I can say I fully caught up with the series. So let me see how far I've read, like going all the way down here to chapter 1. Chapter 1 released in what year? 2023? Possibly 2023, I want to say? What year? What year was this? No, give me info. I need to know how far back this goes. Are there any comments from people? Nah, it doesn't say when this came out. Hold on. I'm trying to look. Like what year. I'm trying to figure it out from the very first chapter. If it'll show it. Chapter 1. No, it doesn't say. It doesn't say. But it's been a hot minute since I've been reading the series, and now we're finally going to catch up to pretty much the rest of it all today. Now, as I said, since we're going to be going through just 5 chapters, this is going to be significantly shorter than my previous read-throughs due to me having read 8 chapters at a time. So there's going to be 3 chapters left. You guys know how numbers work. I don't need to explain it. But last we left out on, Kafka accepted the kaiju heart for himself and thus has basically awoken to a brand new superpowered state that is making him able to contend with the Meireki. And we've seen how powerful the Meireki is, being able to create shields around itself, being able to shoot anyone with just merely looking at it and slice a person. And it even works against Kafka, but his regeneration is so ludicrously fast that these things that were capable of pretty much killing other people and almost killing even people like Hoshina and Mina, Kafka is just tanking all of it. So let me go to the last chapter, where the last thing we got was Kafka saying, we'll get everyone else wrapped up in this if we stay here. Move back to that transmission tower there. And the Meireki's all like, because Kafka's pointing to it. So in response, Kafka proceeds to do the same thing that Ichigo did and punches the Meireki in the direction of the transmission tower. And then he just goes, okay, I suppose I should get going then. And he just flexes his shoulders because Kafka's about to lock in, even more than he did before. So now we start with, well, the chapters we're going to be going through is chapters 122 all the way to 126. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So there's only 5 chapters. Only 5 chapters we're going to be doing today. Chapter 122. And it shows Kafka having punched the Meireki, who has already started to get out of the rubble. Yeah, of course you'd be unscathed after that. After gaining number 9's power and intellect, the Meireki Kaiju is way more powerful than it was 400 years ago. And Kafka, inside this mindscape, is cracking his own shoulder going, unless I defeat it here today, this cataclysm will spread to the entire world. Okay then, let's do this! And all we see is speed lines as Kafka blitzes the Meireki. And while the Meireki uses its arms to basically block Kafka, it's not enough to keep Kafka from landing a solid hit in its midsection, sending it skyward. And while that's happening, mind you, they're destroying the entire transmission tower. Like, Kafka just basically destroyed this entire transmission tower with this one punch, sending the Meireki through it. And while he's looking, the Meireki, Kafka goes up after it. He goes up after it, like he chases it. While it's flying through the air, he chases after it. And they clash, and the clash is powerful enough to send a shockwave that parts the clouds around them. And then while the Meireki and Kafka are looking at each other, they just start exchanging blows. Enough where the shockwave can be felt. The shockwave from them hitting each other is felt across the entire city. Mina can feel it. The eye patch dude can feel it. Then all of a sudden, Kafka gets grabbed by the Meireki's tail, and the Meireki throws Kafka with extreme force straight through a building. And while he's still flying through the building, the Meireki is literally on him, chasing after him. And that's when Kafka braces himself, and he gets thrown out of the other side of the building, but still manages to get up. And then it looks like Kafka and Itami are surprised because the Meireki appears to be firing a blast in its direction, because the Meireki has apparently stretched its face downwards and widened its eye as if it's opening its mouth, and it's preparing to fire directly at Kafka. Number 2's main blast! Oh no! And then the Meireki blasts towards Kafka, and then Kafka, seeing the blast launch towards him, goes, "You're firing at the ground? Are you trying to turn Tachikawa into a vacant lot, you idiot?" And seeing this, Kafka just casually kicks the shot straight into the air. And then it explodes above the buildings, and everyone is shocked to see that Kafka just casually kicked this thing in the air. And this is shocking Karasu. This is Hoshina surprise. That move is banned from... And then it shows the Meireki preparing to fire once again. A barrage? And then energy starts to build up in Kafka's feet, and he launches into the air. Over here! And Kafka basically aggroes the Meireki as the Meireki shoots towards him. And as these shots are getting closer to Kafka, Kafka basically pushes off of the air to basically fly. No, he's not even pushing off the air. The same move he could use in order to boost his jumps, he's essentially using it to fly. He's basically Iron Man now. And the shots are actually following him. They can change trajectory? Huh? And while that's happening, and his feet gets even... He basically... I can't tell if it's the explosions that did this, or if it's Kafka sending the propulsion through his feet that actually caused this explosion. It seems like it came from Kafka, where he pushed off, and the shockwave of him pushing off caused all of the shots to detonate. But the shockwaves from these detonations is shaking all the nearby buildings. Eye Patch Dude is surprised. Karasu says, "All shots avoided!" And then while Kafka is flying, one shot goes in front of him, which he dodges, but there's one directly beneath him as he just goes, "Crap." And there's an explosion where Kafka is, and it just shows the Meireki just sending a barrage of these shots directly where Kafka's supposed to be. Then we get Narumi. "This is frustrating. It took Mr. Isao all he had just to fire 2 shots, but this thing's casually firing off dozens of them. Not even the original number 2 could pull off that stunt. There's no doubt, out of all the kaiju that have emerged in history, this one is the most outrageous monster of them all." And it shows this Meireki basically doing everything that a kaiju can do, except repeatedly and ludicrously. Hoshina's just watching. But then Narumi starts to get upset because anger veins start popping up his face as he goes, "But what frustrates me the most..." And then it shows Kafka is fine. Kafka is fine as he is out of the smoke and right in front of the Meireki, grabbing its face and shoving it directly into the ground. "But what frustrates me the most is that number 8 is even a cut above that." And the Meireki is just there, being forced to the ground, while Kafka just starts unloading punch after punch after punch after punch all over this thing's body. And the force of these blows is so great that it starts to destroy the entire block. Just from him punching, it starts destroying the entire block where he's punching, and everyone is just witnessing this ludicrous amount of power. Get it. Go. Keep going and finish it. And before that happens, Kafka stops. And then Kafka's looking as he goes, "Please extend the restricted area to a radius of 5 kilometers. He's coming out." Kafka wasn't just trying to beat the Meireki into submission. He was trying to make it so that all of the kaiju inside of the Meireki would come out, beating it to the point where it couldn't use number 9's body anymore. Because now, the Meireki inside of number 9's body is starting to actually come out of number 9's body. And that's the end of chapter 122. So hold on, let me do something real quick. Because I changed my time, but I didn't notify everyone that I was changing my time. I just assumed that everyone would be able to, see it. So hold on, let me just tag some people in it so that they know. All right. That was the end of chapter 122. Onwards to chapter 123. Please extend the restricted area to a radius of 5 kilometers. He's coming out. And then Hoshina goes, "He? Kafka, you know what that thing really is?" "He showed up 400 years ago to scorch the earth during the Edo period. He's a major historical living cataclysm, an amalgamation of countless kaiju that lie beneath the surface of this country. The KAIJU of the Meireki era." And it shows that this very same kaiju, with the same visage, hey, Hybrid, it's good to see you, the same visage as it had back during the Meireki era, it is now starting to grow larger and larger to its original size, with Itami, Narumi, and Hoshina just looking on in utter horror and shock. And then it shows the Meireki starting to float into the air. And then it just starts flying at high speeds. It doesn't start flying at high speeds. It starts floating in the air, and then it just lets out a ginormous roar that has the same properties of just shaking the area around everyone. Mina can feel it, Hoshina can feel it, and then Hoshina goes, "Did you say Meireki? That's the legendary monster. An amalgamation of kaiju. That explains the innumerable signal sources." And then the Meireki's I guess eye mouth it opens up and it aims straight towards Kafka. And the shockwave from this, it's not even a blast. It's like a shockwave, an invisible shockwave that pops out of its mouth. And it completely decimates all buildings in front of it, to the point where even Narumi and Mina have to cover themselves. And there's a ginormous explosion, but it shows Kafka's already in the air. And then he goes straight towards the Meireki. "Once I take you down, it's over!" And when he goes to punch the Meireki blocks it with one of its adjacent hands because it has many eyes all over its body, so it really doesn't have any blind spots. But seeing this, Kafka charges up with power, and the Meireki and Kafka start exchanging blows with each other. "It turns out he's much stronger than he was 400 years ago. First, I'll slip past him and find his core." And before that happens, that same line, those same symbols that the Meireki was using in number 9's body goes straight across Kafka's face, and it obliterates Kafka's face in an Instant. But Kafka's head immediately regenerates. He's grown even more in force. I need to find a way to dodge this, or I'll never get near him. And then the Meireki opens its mouth. It literally has a giant mouth on its back. It has a giant mouth on its back, and it opens up, and it sends out an even larger roar to the point where Mina has to close her ears. And Kafka goes, "What the?" And then all the beeping inside of the science team room they start going off. Eyepatch goes, "What is it this time?" "A countless number of new kaiju signals." "No, wait." And then we have Iharu, who's looking at some of the kaiju that he's killed, and they start to get back up.
"Whoa, what the heck? Don't tell me this means..."
And the same kaiju that were defeated by Kikoru, Narumi, Hoshina, all of them, all kaiju, both Yonju, Hoju, Yoju, Honju, and Daikaiju that were defeated, they all start getting back up. The kaiju corpses, even the blade kaiju that Hoshina fought, it starts to get up too. The neutralized kaiju are revitalizing one after another. Number 9's ability. What's the range? The range is all of Tokyo. No. And then we get to Hoshina's brother, who's watching all the kaiju start to get up where they are. No. All of Japan! Every kaiju that has been defeated during this whole fight, all of them, all over Japan, have started to get back up again. All of them are being revived by the Meireki reviving them.
The entire country.
And then all of a sudden, Mina gets kind of knocked to the side by some, let's just call them an undead kaiju. And some are bearing down on Hoshina. Others are bearing down on Narumi. The revived kaiju are starting to converge. Everyone's already spent. Gotta hurry! And then lines and symbols appear all over the body all around the Meireki, as if they're tripwires, that could trigger another explosion or another cut if Kafka goes across them. It's basically protected its body with these countermeasures. And while that happens, 2 eyes on the face of the Meireki close, and then Kafka gets hit with slashes again, causing him to fly backwards. I can't get near him! Crap, just like before. Looks like the key to this fight is Retina numbers weapon 1. And that's when Narumi chimes in, going, use Retina's foresight to open a path for number 8. But you don't have the strength left to. I'm not gonna do it. And then Kafka's looking, Hoshina's looking as a whole bunch of shots go sailing forward towards the Meireki. And it created, I guess I want to say, it created a smoke screen in front of Kafka? Because Kafka's just looking, and so is Mina. And then Narumi continues. Of course, I assume you've already studied his movement patterns through my vision in advance. Well, my dumb disciple. Oh my goodness! What? Because we see someone in the distance. And she who has not been seen in a minute. CDs, what's going on? We're currently on the ending of chapter 123 of Kaiju number 8. This will be my last mass reading, and then the chapters will move to Thursdays. But who do we see in the distance that Kafka notices that we haven't seen since her little fight with her Daikai? Hold on. Get my wallet out of my back pocket here. Who do we see in the distance that we haven't seen since her fight against her own doppelganger Daikaiju, but Kikoru, as she's standing there with Narumi saying, well, my dumb disciple. And then Kikoru opens her eyes to reveal that she too has Retina's numbers weapon 1 in her eyes, just like Narumi. And she ends the chapter going, a foolish question. And that's the end of chapter 123 onwards to 124. Ending as always. Oh, it's not the end of the stream. We still have to go all the way to chapter 126, and then we're fully caught up. So we still got more going on. And then, starting with chapter 124, Narumi is shocked to see that Kikoru is apparently... She's compatible with 4 types of numbers weapons? Yes. In addition to showing class 5 aptitude with number 4, the weapon that was worn by her mother, Captain Hikari Shinomiya. Oh wait, you're just saying the name of her mother. Yes, in addition to showing class 5 aptitude with number 4, the weapon that was worn by her mother, Captain Hikaru Shinomiya, she is also showing class 4 aptitude with number 1, number 2, and number 7. This is unprecedented, isn't it? Yes, we've never heard of a case like this. Report this to the upper brass. If there's no precedent, then we must proceed with the utmost caution.
Please don't let this leak to anyone, sir.
And then Kikoru gets up.
This could be the key to defeating number 9. I want to eliminate any chance of our people being assimilated and this intel being leaked. Please teach me, Captain Narumi.
And that's the end of the flashback.
Teach me how to use number 1.
As we see Narumi's eye, and then we see Kikoru's eye, as she now has the foresight ability just like Narumi. Now, whether she has the same level of control remains to be seen. But now, we have a way for a path to be shown to take down the Meireki.
Kikoru!
Shinomiya can use numbers weapon 1? The 3rd Division was never briefed on that intel. You taught Kafka Hibino modified combat techniques in secret too, right? This is my ace in the hole to get the jump on number 9. Retina 0001 is the embodiment of numbers 1's countless eyes. It shares everything in this field of vision with the wearer. And the same goes for the spares we've stored for the repair of numbers weapon 1.
Okay, so here, I never even thought that they kept the extra retinas all over Kaiju number 1. Because it has more than just the forward-facing eyes on its face. It has eyes all over its body. They kept spares. And it shows Kikoru, apparently after having beaten her doppelganger, going back and getting those retinas implanted in her.
So he's been fighting with him and sharing his vision with Shinomiya at the same time? I swear you're taking liberties that are hard to defend. This is our last resort. I'll take full responsibility. Go finish what you started that day, Kikoru Shinomiya.
And it shows Kikoru standing there as the Meireki starts staring at Kikoru. Now I understand where those shots came from. Those shots came from Kikoru earlier. Because I was wondering, like, where did those shots come from? Was that Narumi? No! That was Kikoru who unloaded those shots and distracted the Meireki.
Well, you've changed up your luck. Daddy is still inside of it. Kafka Hibino. I'm going to send your fist all the way to his core. Make sure you shatter it.
Then we get a flashback of when Kikoru was crying because after losing her father, she was in her office. Remember that?
I'm sure Daddy is still trapped inside of that thing. I will mourn him when the defense force neutralizes that creature once and for all.
And Kafka remembers her crying her eyes out back then. And then Kafka just slaps his fist forward, goes,
Yeah, leave it to me. Let's free Director General Shinomiya.
And this catches Kikoru's attention, Itami and the eye patch dude, and then she just goes,
Right.
And then it shows the spirits of regret that stem from this guy, from Kafka. And they start enveloping the area where he is as he goes,
Okay, here we go. The number 9 and Meireki period KAIJU neutralization operation begins now!
As it shows Kafka on one top panel and Kikoru with the retinas of Kaiju number 1 on the bottom half. And he immediately dashes off while Kikoru starts flying towards it. And while Kafka launches at the Meireki attempts to try and cut Kafka again, but just as its eye is about to close, Kikoru manages to land a shot directly in its face, keeping it from cutting Kafka.
I won't let you fire a shot! I've got to dodge! I need to destroy the origin points of his attacks! And locate his core!
And she starts using the retinas to read the Meireki's body. And then it shows the tail of the Meireki tearing through a building directly next to Kikoru. And while that happens and Kikoru is dodging away from it, Mina is running and she goes,
Okonogi, I have a favor to ask.
And then it shows Kikoru barreling through the dust, as it shows Kikoru having tears in her eyes. Tears in her eyes when Kafka went to defend her away from number 9 back then, when number 9 had a darker body.
Back then, all I could do was watch. I dragged everyone down and let him get away. But this time, I swear I'll get you out of there. Just hold tight, Daddy!
And she says this while she's in the air directly above the Meireki, and the Meireki's it has one of its eyes. There's something on my face. It was weird. While one of the Meireki's eyes is zoning in on her, and that's the end of chapter 124. Onwards to 125. I told you guys this wasn't going to be long. I told you it wasn't going to be long. We only got 2 chapters left. Chapter 125.
But this time, I swear I'll get you out of there. Just hold tight, Daddy!
And she unloads a whole mag directly into the Meireki. And Kafka's directly in front of it, and he lands a solid hit, causing the Meireki's body to contort and start to fall away. And then it shows Hoshina as he's, I guess, dealing with other kaiju as well.
Kafka's attack connected. Shinomiya's foresight is working.
And it shows Kafka is dodging. It's not only dodging, but he is also punching and landing blows on the Meireki as well. Then it shows Kikoru seeing those same cut lines appearing in front of Kafka, but she shoots the Meireki again, and Kafka gets past it and manages to land a solid hit on the Meireki's chin. Then one of the Meireki's eyes starts bleeding.
It's working! Number 8's attacks are effective!
And then Kafka starts clashing with the Meireki, but the Meireki is also clashing fist to fist with him as well.
I need to fend off its attacks and search for the core.
But while Kikoru is doing this, her eye starts bleeding as well. She's overtaxing herself. She's overheating already? But it's too early for that!
I guess it's only natural. She's not as proficient as Captain Narumi. On top of that, she's using 2 numbers weapons at once. She won't last long.
And Kafka hears this.
What do I do? Meireki's using number 9's abilities. I bet he'll condense his shield to protect his core. We'll need to concentrate a huge amount of power into a single shot to break through it.
But how do we expose the core? Leave that to me. Wrangle the target to the point Okonogi is about to share with you. I'll shoot it down with Kiranos.
The same giant railgun she used to take down that giant kaiju in the city. You know, the one with the many eyes and the mushroom-type head? And it had the little itty-bitty ones crawling all over the ground. She's gonna use a giant railgun to blast a hole in the Meireki.
That thing!
Roger!
And Kikoru is flying towards the Meireki again.
Focus. Follow the signals and find the core. Not that one. Or this one. There's a seemingly endless number of fused kaiju cores acting as decoys.
And while she's dodging attacks from the Meireki, she goes,
It must be even deeper.
Officer Shinomiya's unleashed combat power has dropped 12%.
Search.
She's taking on tremendous stress. She's lost an additional 5%.
Search. Search!
And she's trying to search through all of these different these endless amount of kaiju cores that are inside the Meireki trying to find its main one. And then we get a flashback again. This story loves flashbacks.
Daddy, I know why you were so strict. You see, I was pretending to sleep back then.
And then it cuts to Hikaru speaking about,
I plan on hardening my heart to train her. Which means you'll have to take over, giving our little Kikoru lots of love and attention.
and she's thinking of this memory. Then we cut to the memory where she died, where her mother died.
When Mommy passed, that was when Daddy decided he would stand in for Mommy.
And during that funeral, remember when Kikoru was crying her eyes out, Isao was the only one who wasn't crying. Not because he didn't feel anything, but because he had to pick up where his wife left off. And had to go that extra mile to make sure his daughter was protected and do what he could to just bring down all kaiju.
That was when Daddy decided he would stand in for Mommy. I found it! The one reacting to every generated signal. The control center. The main core! I'm sharing its location.
And it shows the core surrounded by a massive tons of flesh embedded deep within the Meireki. Well done! Now we just have to wrangle it to the point. And while Kikoru is flying, the arm of the Meireki is directly in front of her. And then her wings start to buzz.
My output isn't increasing?
And it shows Kikoru apparently caught up in this swipe from the Meireki. Down another 15%! She's at her limit! Kikoru!
Stay back! Didn't I tell you, Kafka Hibino? I'm done being rescued.
And mind you, she's laying in a small crater, and she's bleeding all over her face and everything. She's kind of crumpled on the ground. And then she grabs her gun, despite the damage, and goes,
Resuming mission!
and this, Kafka can only just, is taken aback by this. Then we get Isao again. Another flashback of Isao again.
I'll be okay now. No matter what dilemma I may face, no matter what kaiju I may stand against, I won't give in.
As she just starts shooting the Meireki over and over and over again, while Kafka is also using this opportunity to punch the Meireki.
You're 150 away from the designated point!
And this is Okanogi. And then the Meireki opens its eye wide again and tries to unleash a barrage of shots at Kafka, and he just dodges them.
Captain Narumi, Mommy, Daddy, I'll surpass them all!
And while he's flying through the air, another line appears in front of Kafka.
I'll be the strongest Defense Force officer there ever was!
And Kafka manages to land another hit on the Meireki, sending it backwards just a little bit more. And then Okanogi goes,
Target point reached!
Mina! And then it shows Mina in the Kuranos, and she already says,
Locked on.
and that's the end of chapter 125. Onwards to the last and latest chapter of Kaiju number 8. I hit the wrong button. This is the latest chapter. This dropped on the 8th of May.
Target point reached!
Mina! And then chapter 126. And then it shows Mina with the headset on. Uni-organ loaded. Calibration systems. That's not a word. Calibration systems?
Calibration systems all green. Barrel cooled. Erosion stage 3. Fire!
And she fires. And the Meireki immediately notices, and then it opens its main middle eye and prepares to fire a shot directly at Mina.
Go!
But when the Meireki fires back, Okanogi, Itami, everyone is shocked to see it fire back in response. And Mina's shot starts to get split by the shot of the Meireki, shocking everyone. The darn thing counterattacked! Against Kyranos? Oh wait, the darn thing counterattacked! Against Kyranos?
I can't believe him. Hold!
And the blast is still going. Short detected in 3rd and 9th circuits. Barrel heat rising rapidly as the Meireki continues to fire to counter the blast.
Melting has begun! Captain Ashido, evacuate! I won't last much long.
And before Mina can say anything, as it appears that the gun is about to basically detonate with her still inside, Kikoru is above the Meireki, as if she parted the clouds, because the clouds are parted around her, and she has her battle axe. And Mina notices.
Please, Numbers Weapon 4. I know you're already at your limit. Just give me one more attack. Just one more attack. Lend me your strength.
And while she says this, her combat power is at 51.8, and it shoots up to 93. And while she has her axe, it's as if another hand places it on top of her axe to give her a guiding hand, almost as if it's her mother helping her.
A defense force officer is the spear of the state and the shield of the people. But this attack...
As it shows the Meireki, and then it starts to zoom into Isao, he looks at his daughter, who's running towards him, and she launches at her father, and he smiles back.
But this attack, I'll give to you and you alone!
And she delivers her axe directly on top of the Meireki. And the Meireki is distracted, its eyes shuts, and while Kikoru is falling away from the Meireki, it's barely able to open its eyes as all of a sudden its main head is completely obliterated by the last shot from Mina. And then Kikoru, in just one massive giant spread panel, goes,
Please! Kafka Hibino!
And then it shows the core. It shows the core that's being shielded by the Meireki. As the body is trying to regenerate quickly, Kafka is already there, taking the same stance as Gon from Hunter x Hunter as he goes, Leave it to me! As he's preparing to destroy the core of the Meireki. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the latest chapter of Kaiju number 8. And with that, we have officially caught up with the entire series. The next chapter is going to be dropping in 11 days. So, if it's going to be dropping in 11 days, then that means it's going to be, hold on. 11 days. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, next week. Next week, we're going to get the newest chapter on the 6th. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's either going to be dropping on... I'm probably getting my numbers mixed up. No, it says 10 days. 10 days, 10 days. Yep, still Thursday. On the 5th! Wow, yeah, that's going to be a busy day. The newest chapter of Kaiju number 8. Newest chapter of the beginning after the end. Me having my Switch and doing a live unboxing for it. And I believe something else is supposed to be happening on that Thursday as well. I'm drawing a blank on it, but something important is supposed to be happening on that day as well. I can't remember, but something else is supposed to be happening on the 5th of Thursday. I mean, the 5th of June. But ladies and gentlemen, we've caught up to the entirety of Kaiju number 8. Kitty! Hey-oh! You made it! And I kind of got through this relatively quickly. So... we have officially caught up with Kaiju number 8. The next chapter is going to be dropping next Thursday. And that is when officially the series will now move to Thursdays now. So that's going to be happening. Now, my question is, will this be, with the Meireki being taken down, will this spell the end of the series? Did I catch up to this series as we're on the cusp of it ending? Is that what's happening? Hold on, let me check something real quick. Nah, it doesn't look. It doesn't look like it's gonna be. Wait, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Kaiju number 8 creator reveals the story is reaching its climax. Let's see. Nearing its end. Could be nearing its end. Surprising fans due to its recent popularity and success with the anime adaptation. With the story reaching its climax, fans can expect intense battles as Kafka Hibino's journey to protect humanity comes to a close. Wow. So are we getting close to the end of the story? Already? The story, and mind you, this was a story from last year. This was an information post from last year. The story currently being serialized is reaching its climax, but I will continue to put my all into drawing Kaiju number 8, so please continue to support us. Wow. The story's... Wow. The Last Wave arc, is that... Wow, are we really about to see the end of Kaiju number 8 kind of soon? Wow. Okay. So, since we are now done with the series, now I get to look up stuff. Yeah, now I get to look up stuff. So now I get to go to the Kaiju number 8 wiki and look at stuff. And I can finally watch the anime since I am pretty much caught up with the entire series. Wow. That's interesting. All right, so first thing I want to look up is the strength and power of Kafka. So we have first Kaiju form and then second Kaiju form. I am so glad I avoided this wiki in its entirety. Now, I'll give my final thoughts on the series as a whole and what I think of it after all this time. But first things first. I'm looking over different things, like after having his heart converted into a core to deepen his connection with the mysterious larva, that's what it's called, mysterious larva. Kafka's kaiju form undergoes a metamorphosis by shedding the black scales and plates. His body is now white while still retaining the energy cracks on his upper body. The horns on his skull face have slightly grown, curving inward, and possess a set of 2 small eyes along each horn curve, and his back now sports 4 maple leaf-shaped dorsal plates, akin to that of Godzilla. So now let me see. His strength. And then we're going to talk about the series as a whole and why I think it's actually a really good series. Overall abilities. After an unknown kaiju entered his mouth, Kafka obtained the power to transform into a humanoid daikaiju, gaining immensely powerful abilities. He eventually learned to use this power on a more advanced level, allowing him to change specific parts of his body without a full transformation. Conversely, this allows him to outwardly appear completely human if he so chooses. Unfortunately, his kaiju nature remains, making it nearly impossible for Kafka to presently draw beyond 1% of release power from the Defense Force combat suit he wears. Kafka's kaiju form has a fortitude level of 9.8, the highest fortitude level seen so far in the entire series, making him one of the most powerful kaiju to ever exist, if not the most powerful. He can overpower other kaiju rather easily, even those as powerful as base kaiju number 9, who has a fortitude level of 8.5 without ever tiring out. Kafka has shown so much dexterity with this new form that he could resist an onslaught from Vice Captain Soshiro Hoshina and disarm him without injuring him. He even proved to be strong enough to resist Isao Shinomiya's attacks, a man armed with a numbers weapon, albeit the man was past his prime, and easily overpower a fellow identified kaiju like kaiju number 13. Kafka's transformation gets the better of him, resulting in a raging kaiju number 8 out of control, albeit when it senses the presence of an identified number kaiju. It was also discovered that the longer Kafka stands in his kaiju form, the more his human body turns into a kaiju with no possibility of returning to normal. Kafka retains his individuality and sense of self when this occurs, leaving him to helplessly watch his body rampage without his consent. Furthermore, due to his age, Kafka's body can't take the full strength of his blows and will eventually be damaged whenever he abuses his powers. Due to the parasitic kaiju, he has some unique connection that allows him to see the phantoms of ancient warriors. Near dead, Kafka strengthened this link further, resulting in him reliving the parasitic kaiju's memories, and could see the reason why he lost control was a result of the ancient kaiju hunter's 400-year-old grudge due to the Daikaiju of the Meireki era. After his human heart turned into a kaiju core, and then came to terms with his newest path, Kafka mutated into a new form, unleashing waveforms belonging to neither a human nor kaiju. Like the Meireki Daikaiju, his fortitude level is unmeasurable. Learning what fuels Kaiju number 8's power is the collective, never-ending stream of hatred, regret, anger, and shame from the ancient warriors. So there's a long list of capabilities for Kafka. A long list. Now, the one thing that I want to look up is the Meireki, is the capabilities, the Daikaiju of the Meireki era. That's the name of it. It's just the Meireki no Daikaiju. So I just call it the Meireki to save on time. So, let's go over the Meireki just a little bit. The Daikaiju of the Meireki era is an ancient and powerful kaiju who, in the year 1657, rampaged for 100 days and was the cause of the greatest massacre of kaiju slayers in history. This mighty kaiju is currently fused to kaiju number 9 and hides inside its body. I don't know if this has been fully updated to what's happening right now at this moment. This entity appears as a massive amalgamation kaiju whose body is made of different monsters' body parts. Its main head presents a human-like face with 10 eyes set in 3 vertical rows, and a small mouth at the bottom, lacking a nose. Its shoulder and upper body are made of multiple kaiju heads, and 2 pairs of arms sprouting from its back. It also has a massive long tail. It also had a mouth in the middle of its back that only opens when it roars. It's currently fused with Kaiju number 9, taking the appearance of number 9's previous form before absorbing Kaiju number 2, with a vertical slit opening going from its head to its pubis. Inside this opening lies numerous eyes that belong to the Meireki Daikaiju, with 4 fingers keeping the gap open from number 9's chest. This form also presents a long pointy tail and 4 pairs of arms, 3 more compared to number 9's original form. So if we go down past this, because we're currently in the last wave arc, that's where we're at right now. And they currently don't have any information on that particular arc. Let's see here. Powers and abilities. As a kaiju of historical importance, the Daikaiju of the Meireki era is an immensely powerful being. It is strong enough to slay the highest number of kaiju slayers in history and burn down massive areas in the process. Its presence in number 9's body hints that this Daikaiju was the source of kaiju number 9's unparalleled might, while kaiju number 9 kept it contained, viewing it as too dangerous and unstable. After kaiju number 9's core was destroyed and losing equilibrium, the Meireki Daikaiju awakened, having a fortitude deemed immeasurable by the Defense Force. So here's all of the abilities of the Meireki. Immense speed and reflexes. The Meireki Daikaiju has amazing reflexes that have allowed it to react to and block attacks from Soshido Hoshina and Gen Narumi using its multiple arms, both of whom are considered the strongest close combat fighters in the Defense Force. Even catching their fastest multi-stage attacks with Narumi's precognitive abilities, are unable to land a blow towards the Daikaiju's defenses. It keeps saying that it wants to wait because it hasn't loaded the whole thing yet. But I'm still gonna press on. Even catching their fastest multi-stage attacks with Narumi's precognitive abilities are unable to land a blow towards the Daikaiju's defense longer to make him overheat and manage to defeat Hoshina in a single blow without him dodging. Some of these, there are grammar errors. Immense strength and durability, mental powers, runes. Ooh, this is what it's called. So, mental powers. While the full extent of its abilities is unknown, this Daikaiju seems to have some mental influence on Kaiju number 9, guiding it to where it was hiding and leading to their first encounter. This capability is so powerful that even Mina Ashido was unable to escape from its influence inside number 9's mind if it weren't for Kafka Hibino's interference. Runes. The Daikaiju of the Meireki era can manifest shining runes on the opponent's body, which upon blinking causes them to split their target in half while causing a tremendous explosion from the aftermath. And then apparently its attacks include energy attacks and necromancy, which is weird. Due to having absorbed number 9 when it got out, the Daikaiju of the Meireki era was able to resurrect all dead kaiju, including identified kaiju, all over Japan by letting out a roar, all across the entirety of Japan. So yeah, I'll read some of this stuff later. But what I really wanted to say is, honestly, I've enjoyed reading this. I've enjoyed reading this series. This was a fun series to read, and now I fully caught up with, and I have to say, this is a good series. Now I need to watch the anime to see how they do that. But overall, this was a great read. Thank you everyone for stopping by. I know this is going to be a lot shorter than my previous sessions, but I've pretty much caught up with the series. And my overall thoughts is this was a good series to cover. Now, with that article from last year saying that the story is going to be appearing to reach its end at some point, I feel like I'm catching up to the point where we are at the climax of the story, and once the Meireki is taken care of, there is no greater threat after that, and we could be seeing the end of Kaiju number 8. So I feel like my sessions of covering Kaiju number 8 on Thursdays is on borrowed time, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Overall, I enjoyed reading for all of you. Sorry if I didn't get the message that I was doing this at exactly 3 o'clock out to you guys soon enough. My apologies for that. But now we get to tune in to the story when the new chapters actually drop now, which will be on Thursday. And Thursday is going to be, like I said, very busy for me next week. So I can't wait to cover it with all of you. Thank you for stopping by, everybody. I know it's shorter than usual, but I just wanted to cover what I needed to recover. Well, I wanted to cover what I wanted to cover. Kitty, CDs, Hybrid, anyone else who's watching, all I can say to you is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. So have a fantastic day! And once again, as always, later, peoples!